Hey, everybody, welcome into the first edition of Domesticated Gamblers, three dads with our favorite picks of the day. We will be coming to you each and every weekday here on YouTube. It is January 17th, 2023. My name is Eric Sontag, and I am joined by my buddies Sean Cerwillo and Tito Ulrich. Guys, it's our maiden voyage here on the show. I'm feeling good. Tito, how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling fired up, Eric. I appreciate the time with you guys. I appreciate providing a platform to provide my hot, stinky takes. I'm getting fired up about some of these plays. I'm getting ready to discuss with you guys. I want to see what you jokers have in store for us, and I want to find out what the ins and outs of all the different gambling bets that we have discussed for today. So I'm looking forward to today's show.
Sean, how about you, bud?
Yeah, Tito, appreciate that. I need you guys to hit this like and subscribe button. So we're doing this just to get some content out here for everyone. Maybe get you guys some winners. I know if you stick with my picks, I'm going to cash you some money. It's a long-term process for me. I don't win a ton of money every weekend. It's a yearly process for me. I'm super pumped for the playoffs, NFL. What a crazy weekend. We got Lawrence coming out of nowhere, beating Herbert. What a game. I can't wait to dive into all this talk with you boys. You know, these are two of my best buds over here. So we're excited.
Yeah, let's dive in a little bit about us and about the show first. Just a little background on us. So I think I've been friends with you guys since high school, but you guys go back even farther than that, growing up across the street from each other, literally. When did that start? Tell us more about your background, your relationship, the two of you.
Well, this guy over here, he was trying to play.
I'm jumping in right now because I'm going to tell the story, you joker. This guy.
Okay, your version, I guess.
This guy is outside across the street playing in some yard. He's throwing the football around with his cousin Joe, his little brother Brendan. And all of a sudden, I come out because I want to make a new friend. I like meeting new people. And I'm 14, 15 years old. I can't remember the exact time. And hey, you guys need an extra guy to play football with. This guy looks at me and says, "You gotta go get another player. It's not even teams right now." And I'm like, "This guy just moved into my neighborhood."
I've always been about the process. It's got to be even, man. You can't have odds. I've always been about the process.
There's no process. So he thought I was gonna tuck my tail between my legs and go back inside. Well, you know what I did? I found another friend, brought him down, and we dominated his family in football outside, flag football, backyard football, whatever you want to call it.
Tackle football, number one. And you didn't dominate ever.
Lie in through your teeth again. This is where you're going to get revisionist history from Fish. You remember this every day. He's going to make picks, and then the next day he's going to come back and say, "I didn't say that. I don't know what you got."
Hey, it's on video, baby. We got proof.
Yes, we do. It's the first of many disagreements here on the show, I would imagine, as we go along. We got about 25, 30 years of history going back for you guys, probably about 20 years for me. Now we're all grown up. We're all domesticated. We all have our careers. We all have our better halves that we love and our kids that we love, but we also love talking sports for sure. I guess, a lot of our conversation, sure, the national sports topics. We have our local sports team. So we're all located here in St. Louis, Missouri, where the Cardinals are king. So always talking our local teams. We talk a lot of fantasy sports, being in leagues together. We talk a lot of gambling, and we thought, we talk about this stuff anyways. We might as well put it on YouTube and see if anybody watches. So I will say this show is going to focus more on gambling than anything. Frankly, I think that's where there's the most demand for content, and I think it gives us the best chance for the show to get some traction. So on that note, let's do some introductions of talking about gambling. We'll start with Sean. I would say you are the most seasoned gambler of the three of us, no doubt. I think you're very good at, you have your numbers and data, but I think what separates you is you have that gut feel. You are really good at picking your spots. I think it's not just in gambling, but in life as well for you, Sean. So tell us a little bit more about your philosophy when it comes to gambling.
Well, I like to study markets, and betting is a market. You gotta follow the trends. And Vegas isn't where it is because of the public winning all the time. I love fading the public. Been doing that for a long, long time. So my family, Italian family, we're running survivor pools. The time I was 7 years old, I'm putting $20 into a pool, learning point spreads. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've lost a lot of money gambling. You have to learn, and you have to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. That's something that I learned with age and experience. Number one rule: do not gamble when you're drunk. You will lose. You will lose more money than you even have. Don't go to Vegas and blow all your money. Don't go on DraftKings and blow all your money when you're drunk. It's just not going to win. You're not going to win. Oh, I'm excited. No, just stay disciplined and don't do it. Don't do it. So I guess I was 61% NFL this past season, and 2 years ago I was 64%. So I really have edges in the NFL. I like to handicap games myself. I'm not as sharp in the other sports. I would consider Eric pretty sharp in college basketball, but that's about it for me.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, man. The do not bet when you're drunk. If there was like 10 commandments of gambling, that might be number one.
Right. Do
So
not.
no, don't do it. On to Tito. Definitely the most passionate sports fan of the three of us. Sports talk radio junkie as long as I've known you. You love a good underdog story. I'm sure we'll talk about the New York Football Giants coming up later in
The
the
only
show.
time he doesn't like a good underdog story is when, like, St. Louis Cardinals are going to win the World Series in 11, and he's, they're not going to win. I hate John Jay. I hate David Freese.
Hey, yeah, you got to make it happen. No one ever remembers 2019 when I called my shot in December when I told you the Blues were going to win the Stanley Cup, and everyone was jumping off the bandwagon. So, love a true underdog story.
True.
Love talking sports. Not a real big gambler. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like betting. I don't like going to casinos and spending $5 on blackjack when blackjack dealers are calling me out for sweating over $5 little dollars. But hey, $5 to me is a big deal, especially when I'm domesticated. I got 5 kids of my own, so every dollar counts in my book. But gambling for me, kind of goes back to picking games. We didn't put money down, but my mom and older brother would always pick games every Sunday morning. This is even before the Rams got to St. Louis, but we would Post Dispatch would have recaps or previews for any game upcoming. So we would write our initials next to each game, picking games. And I didn't know anything for football or anything like that, but we would just pick a team and we track it every week. And it was a good little thing that we did. But, for me, I'm going to look at different odds, different spreads for the obscure stuff, right? So I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. I was a backyard wrestler. I was Little Snoop Danny Dog. I was taking this guy down here called Hot Smoke and throwing him all around the backyard and dominating him. So I'm going to give you some plays on some WWE stuff.
Right? I don't remember dominated ever.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous, right? WWE being gambling, it's predetermined, but who cares, right? We still want to have that edge. We still want to have that knowledge. So I'm going to provide that little knowledge. And then, hey, I love any hot sports take. So if I think the Cardinals are going to suck after they trade away Colby Rasmus or they trade away their all-star prospect and make it a better team overall, I'm going to give that to you right straight up. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions, and you're going to like them whether you're going to take them whether you like them or not. So, that's what I got. And, that's why they're called Tito's toilet takes. They're not called Tito's, magical, mysterious, awesome takes. They're called the toilet takes for a reason. So get ready for them. And you jokers, be ready for some shout outs and be ready to argue with me over some takes that I have for you guys as well, especially with these upcoming NFL week.
Fade this guy.
Yeah, and Tito's toilet takes is a real thing. So sometimes in the middle of a work day, I'm working on a big presentation, and all of a sudden I get a text to my phone, and it's a video, and I see Tito. I know what his bathroom looks like. He's sitting on the shitter, and he's giving a hot take about the topic du jour. You are a hot take connoisseur, Tito. I think you were the hot take connoisseur of the group. For me, I think I'm kind of the biggest sports nerd of the three of us. I think I have the most knowledge about it, just like the facts of it. I have this crazy memory where I can rattle off every single World Series matchup, who won, who lost, and how many games it took since 1985. It is truly bizarre. I could do the same thing with NBA Finals and Super Bowls since 1991. Really, really weird. But all this knowledge, it does not really serve me while gambling all the time. That doesn't make you a great sports gambler to know a ton about sports. But, just my personality, I'm very numbers and data driven in general. So that's really but most of my picks are going to be based off of. Sean, you hit on it earlier. The discipline is so huge. I think that's really where I've progressed the most. And I'm still not perfect. I fired off a drunk bet at Tito's house watching a UFC fight a few months ago and lost $160 on that. That was good times. But for the most part, I've really progressed as a gambler over the years. I've gotten a lot more educated, a lot more disciplined for the most part, have my slip ups every once in a while here and there. But I was really excited because I was profitable overall as a sports bettor in 2022. Many thanks to European soccer, which you'll hear me talk a lot about on the show. I've done very well at European soccer the last couple of years, really got into that during COVID. So betting on sports has just really become a passion of mine overall. It's nice to get my fix here talking to my two boys every day here on the show. But I do want to make sure I make it clear, like this is a hobby right now, but I've worked in advertising sales for 15 years now. So I'm here to make money off this thing, and this is going to be a process just like it is for gambling.
I can subscribe.
Yes, hit that like button if you're here watching on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at Gambling Dads. That's at Gambling Dads. You can interact with us there. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring the show, you can shoot us a DM on Twitter. Again, that is at Gambling Dads. All right, boys. So let's get into the format of the show. Every weekday, each of us is going to put out our favorite picks of the day. Now, it could be one pick. It could be two picks. It could be seven. Like, it really just depends. We're not going to force it. And Sean, speaking of like commandments of gambling, I think that's another one that you are big on. You don't have to make a bet just because. You find a player plays that you like, and those are the ones that you fire on. So why don't you just like elaborate a little more on that, on picking your spots when it comes to betting?
Yeah, whatever sport that you know the most about, you have the most knowledge. You definitely want to pick your spots in that sport. You don't always have to chase. There might be guys, hey, you're not worried about spending $200 a weekend and you want to throw, $25 on a parlay here, or, $10 on a prop bet here. And that's how you like to gamble. And that's totally fine. That's not where I make my money. I make my money on larger bets and maybe one or two a weekend, looking for one edge. For me, it was Dallas last night. I had it handicapped at 6. Vegas had it at 2.5. I really saw an edge there. Tampa Bay's offense was terrible all year. I didn't think they were going to do very well against one of the better ranked offense or defenses in the league, and they didn't. So those are edges where you see that edge and you want to hammer that edge. That's when you want to take advantage of that edge.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also for the picks, it could be for games going on that day, or it could be for games coming up later in the week where the line is already out. We'll get into the NFL here in just a little bit, but there's games coming up Saturday and Sunday. You might have a line out there right now that you want to take advantage of and don't want to risk it moving one way or the other. So, you can make picks for games tonight, games coming up later in the week. You can do player props, team props. You can bet on futures, really, or WWE, Tito, where you can find it a lot of the offshore books. If you can bet it somewhere, you can make it one of your picks here on the show. And a key thing here for me, we are all about transparency on Domesticated Gamblers. So I am personally going to be keeping track of our won-loss records, and more importantly, the dollars won and the dollars lost. And Tito, I think you're going to kind of be our case study on this. What it's like to be an everyman that loves sports, but you haven't bet a ton in your life. I don't think you're really wired for that, but especially as gambling is becoming legal in more and more of these states, a lot of these people that love sports are going to start dabbling into it. So I think this is going to be a good case study of what can happen, both good and bad, when you start betting, right? So like, how are you feeling as we get ready to start this process of the show?
Listen, I'm fired up. You guys think I'm going to get destroyed? You guys think I'm going to get killed? Maybe I will. But guess what? Maybe I won't. And especially with these WWE picks, man, I think I have an edge here. I can talk to you about storylines. I can talk to you about business deals that are coming up for WWE. And man, I'm really excited about tracking the bets. I'm really excited about knowing what lines are. I know I asked you jokers last week, what is the money line versus what's the other type of bet that there even is? I don't even know.
You are Joe Public, and this is going to be a great experiment. I was gonna talk to you guys about a little monthly friendly loser buys lunch.
Yeah, love it.
We'll go off winning percentage every month.
I'm going to buy you buzz. I'm going to have to buy you lunch every month.
And you're talking about how you're going to win and how you're going to prove us wrong. So let's see it.
Well, I will say we were doing we did a test show last week just to make sure everything works with the Zoom and all that stuff. And Tito fired a 3-star lock on the New York Football Giants +3. And that came in. So that was our spring training. We're not keeping track of that. But Tito, you can do it. You can do it. I do believe in you.
We'll do. I like the bet, Sean. We can do that. We can do it. Maybe a minimum of 3 months. We'll see how it goes after 3 months. And if I've bought lunch for 3 straight months, we'll have to replay these tapes.
It don't have to be nothing expensive. Maybe Joya's, maybe Mom's Deli. We'll figure it out.
I love that. I love that. So again, each of us is going to put out our favorite picks every weekday. Picks can be 1, 2, or 3 stars, really however you feel confident. I mean, I guess you can do more if you really want to, but man, oh man, you really got to be careful about doing that. You don't want to chase if you are down. That's another commandment I'm sure we'll talk about as we go along. In terms of keeping track of the money, for the sake of easy math, our unit size for the show is going to be $100. Now, I want to be clear, and I'll speak for myself here. The plays we put out are plays we like. They're plays we're probably betting, at least me and Sean. But just because we're betting $100 on a game doesn't mean you need to bet that amount. We don't unit size shame on this show. Okay. I don't care if a unit size is $5, $10, 100, 500. I don't really care. It's all about what you're comfortable with. And it's really nobody else's business how big your unit is, right? I mean, like for real, like that's nobody else's business, right, Sean?
Yeah. And I would say for the novice gambler who doesn't know the units, when you have a 1-unit play, that's a game that you like, but you don't have a huge edge on it or a lean. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3 units, 1, 2, and 3 stars, we're going to call them. So with the unit play, you can go 1-1 and still profit. That's what's huge about units. You don't have to be over 500 to profit on a certain day, or even all year, really. If you're making enough, 3-star plays and you're winning on those consistently.
Yep. So picking spots is going to be really key, but just for the sake of easy math on the show, our default plays are going to be 1-star plays. If you want something more than that, just say it. So for a play that's a minus money play, like a typical -110 bet on a spread or a total, we are betting to win $100. And on 1-star plus money plays, which Tito has one coming up later in the show, we are risking $100 on those plays. Well, actually, I guess Tito has a plus money play, but it's going to be more than 1 star. We're getting better at teasing. We're going to keep working on that. So, all right, with all that out of the way, let's start talking some games, and let's start with the NFL. We have our divisional round matchup set. Sean, I know you're getting ready. I can tell you got comfortable in your seat. We're ready to talk some NFL. We have our divisional round matchup set starting on Saturday. We have the Jaguars off the huge comeback against the Chargers going to Kansas City. The number is currently Chiefs -8.5 with a total of 53. 53 is the highest number of the weekend. Overs went 5-1 in the first round of the playoffs. Would have been 6-0 except for that stupid Dallas kicker who forgot how to make a kick. The over missed by 1 point. So overs have been cashing in the playoffs after a huge season of unders. I think it was like the biggest season of unders in 20 years in the NFL.
It was.
Other game on Saturday night, the other 1 seed in action. The Philadelphia Eagles going up against Tito's New York Football Giants. The Eagles, a 7.5-point favorite with a total of 48. I think we're going to have some good discussion on those games today. And then a couple others coming up on Sunday, the other 2 matchups. The Bills hosting the Bengals. Bills -4.5 with a total of 48. And then the renewal of a great playoff rivalry. Many of the great games over the years, even one last year. Niners and Cowboys in San Francisco, or I guess Santa Clara. Niners -3.5 with a total of 46.5. So, Sean, I'm going to let you run with it to start here. We have all week to talk about these games, but big picture, what stands out to you with those 4 games?
Well, for me, definitely the Giants-Eagles game. I've seen some numbers already coming in, heavy money on the Giants. And if Jalen Hurts is healthy, I'm going to monitor this situation all week. I usually don't make my bets until Friday. Unless I kind of have a feel that a player is going to be out and I want to get ahead of that number. But for me, this game should be around 10. 9.5 to 10 points. I don't agree with the 7.5. I like the Eagles as of right now. I'm not giving that play out yet, but that's where I'm at with that game. The public is all over the Giants, and they beat a bad Minnesota defense, one of the worst defenses in the league. They beat them by 7. Okay, it was a close game against a bad. Everyone knew that Vikings were frauds. So for power rankings for me, the Giants are 8th, Jacksonville 7. So I'm going to be fading both of them most likely this weekend, and I never lay more than a touchdown ever during the season, but I just don't see it.
Tito, what you got?
Give me the G-Men all day. Give me the 7.5 points. They're going to win outright. Daniel Jones showed this past weekend. He is legit. Brian Dable has put forth the offense that he implemented with the Bills and with Josh Allen. They're going to run all over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Tito, do you know how many touchdown passes that Daniel Jones threw this
cost
week?
me the fantasy football championship in our league, and now I'm seeking revenge. And we're going with the G-Men. Take the 7.5 right now and put it down. 3-star play, baby.
You know what's funny to me is Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback now. He threw 15 touchdown passes this season. Last year he threw 11. What has changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed.
Brian Dable, that has changed. There are some coaches in the league that can coach. Brian Dable is one of them. Daniel Jones needed a right type of head coach. It's been proven over and over again. Look at Jacksonville with Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. Did somehow Trevor Lawrence didn't know how to play football last year? No, it was the head coach. This is
He was a rookie.
Daniel Jones. Don't even worry about the 15 touchdown passes. Daniel Jones can run. He can do exactly what Brian Dable wants to do. Plus, they have Saquon Barkley, who's back at it 100%. They've got some wide receivers that are explosive. They are just fine. Take the 7.5. The defense is legit, and we're going to play this one all the way through. G-Men to the Super Bowl, baby.
Boy, that's a hot take.
That is a hot take. I can't believe I'm doing this because I was on Tampa last night. I faded the King, Sean. So you have over 60% each of the last 2 seasons in the NFL, and I fell into the Brady trap and the nostalgia, and then Mike McCarthy sucking as a head coach. And I fell into the trap, and I went against you and I lost. I'm doing it again here. I am officially releasing a 1-star play on the G-Men plus 7.5 already. Okay, I'm going to take over the show here for a second. I got some really good stuff here. Divisional round stats, courtesy of the Action Network going back to 2003. Okay, we got 19 years of data on this. Road underdogs in the divisional round, which all 4 games qualify this year. Those road dogs are 58% against the spread with a record of 42-30. But it gets really, really interesting when you hone in on just the number 1 seeds. So those number 1 seeds in particular struggle in this round. So be aware if you are betting on the Chiefs and on the Eagles. So if you faded every number 1 seed over the last 19 years in the divisional round and instead just took the underdog against the spread, you'd have gone 66% against the spread, 25-13. So that is great news for both the Jags and the Giants, and it gets better. If the spread is single digits in those games with the 1 seeds, with both of those games are for now, I think they're at 7.5 and 8.5. If you just took the underdog, you'd have gone 75% against the spread. And this isn't just like, oh, they went like 7-3, 24-8. So 32 games. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The spread is single digits in the divisional round games with the 1 seeds, again, which both games are for now. You take the underdog, you've gone 75% against a spread record of 24-8. Overall, only twice in the last 19 years have both 1 seeds covered in this round. But on the other side, there have been 8 times in the last 19 years where both 1 seeds failed to cover. Jacksonville and the Giants, I think, are really good plays right now, especially the Giants because it's at 7.5. You know, if you like the Giants, take it now, because if it gets to 7, you lose a lot of that value. The Jags, it's at 8.5. It could be a key number, but it's not really as key as 7. So I'm going to wait on that, you know, in case it gets up to 9, or I don't think it would go higher than 9.5. But I'm going to wait on the Jags. But to your point, Sean, I do get the sense everyone is slurping the Giants right now, fading the Eagles. And the Jags and Chiefs game is kind of flying under the radar. I feel like I haven't heard much about that. So just your reaction to those stats and overall, does it change your tune at all, Sean?
No, like I talked about me and markets, I see what you're talking about, and I'm going to fade that market. I think there's time for regression in that. It's going to be the opposite. I never bet this way, but when I'm handicapping both of these games, I just don't see either underdog actually even covering.
Wow.
Tito, how do you feel after hearing those stats I rattled off?
I love it. Even better, right? And I don't look up those stats, folks. I sit here and just trust my gut, baby. So
I mean, it's impressive stats. I give you that. And I understand where you're coming from there, and I love the research. I do. I love it. That's what we're going to bring on this show is research like that over the years, or if you keep following us month to month, that's going to win you money. That kind of research right there. So I love it, Eric. Good job. That was a great.
Love it. All right. Well, let's move it along and let's get to the picks for today. Well, like I said, we'll have plenty of time to talk more in depth about these games later in the week in the NFL. So Sean, let's start with you, buddy. Our first day of making official picks here in the show. What do you got tonight?
Yeah. So on our promo, I did give out 2 picks and I went 1-1, and I had some trolls already trolling me, lost the first game. Well, it's a long season and we did cash that last game. So, just keep on following us. I'm going to go to college basketball today. And college basketball actually went under the radar this weekend because the NFL was on. But over the weekend, 11 ranked teams in college basketball lost, tying the most in one weekend all time. So that's pretty bizarre. A lot of these transfers don't have to sit out another year, or they don't have to wait a waiting year. They don't have to sit out when they transfer now. So it's really college basketball is becoming pretty competitive all around. It has been for years, but even more now than ever. I mean, Houston, they're not a very scary number one right now, I don't think at all. So I'm going to give out 3 plays today. I'm going to take the Western Michigan game. I'm going to take the under 145.5. Wake Forest laying 2.5. And also Creighton -7. I think Creighton's a team who can get hot here. Everybody knows what they do in the tournament. And I think I like Creighton to make a little run here late in the season.
And that's a 2-star play, I believe.
Yeah, so Creighton's going to be a 2-star play for me. Wake and Western Michigan under, those are both going to be 1-star plays for me.
All right, so Sean diving in here on college basketball to start the show. I love hearing those college hoops plays. I have one of my own coming up too. But Tito, let's go to you. You've already put out a 3-star play on the G-Men +7.5 against the Eagles. What else do you have on the docket for today, bud?
yeah, so let's go off the radar a little bit. Let's talk about WWE, baby. A lot of sale rumors coming up. Vince McMahon hostile takeover last week. I have a little bit of a bet for you. It's anyone outside of the WWE current roster that's going to make a surprise entrance into the Royal Rumble. And you know what? With the sales talk, maybe going to Saudi Arabia, going to these different countries or these different companies, it's not going to happen. There's going to be a lot of old-time wrestlers that are going to say no, yes, no, and no thanks, because they don't want to jump around. They don't want to come back to a company where they might get sold off any moment. And so there's I forget what the exact number is. I think is it a yes or a no, but I'm going to take the no. And it's +125, I believe. Is that correct?
Plus 150. Plus 150.
Even better, +150. So take the $100, put it on no surprise entrance, no old school, nobody off the roster of WWE. That's what's going to happen on that route. And then again, the G-Men, take that 7.5, baby. And then my other lock, I think. Correct me, pull that up for me, Eric. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm looking through my phone right now, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll help you out along here. So your Royal Rumble bet, again, anyone outside the WWE roster to enter the Royal Rumble. This is on betonline.ag. You can bet yes or no. Tito's betting the no at +150 and a 2-star play. So he's risking $200 to win $300. He's on the Giants +7.5. with a 3-star play, betting 330 to win 300. And Tito, your other pick is the Bills minus 4.5. You also have it as a 3-star play. You liked it so much you completely forgot about it. So give us your analysis on Bills minus 4.5 as a 3-star play.
They had a rough game against Miami, but they're going to correct those mistakes. They had that 1 week of coming back from the DeMar Hamlin injury. And so I love the Buffalo Bills for this week.
This is total public right here for me on the Bills. This will be a dog that I most likely plays the Bengals. The Buffalo Bills haven't been playing good football for over a month now. Is anyone watching these games?
Yep.
This is what you get. Everyone's just so the story. They almost lost to a third-string quarterback. They have not been playing good football for over a month. They started out as the number 1 team in football. I have them power ranked number 5.
Total fluke play. The Bengals are hurt. Total fluke play for what happened last week against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins couldn't manufacture any offense.
The Ravens, you mean? The Ravens. Ravens were 1 yard away from taking a 7-point lead. Instead, it gets sent all the way back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm screwing you up. I apologize.
The Dolphins and Bills, yeah. So don't listen to this expert. Don't listen to this guy over here that is totally.
Joe Burrow is getting the ball out, second fastest in football. He doesn't need a superior offensive line. Last year, he went to the Super Bowl with a worse offensive line. He doesn't need it. The Bengals are going to cover that game. I don't know if they'll win outright, but they will cover that number most likely. I can't be giving all my takes away. I will be giving 4 plays on the NFL on Friday. You probably got to lean on where I'm going to be going, but I got to disagree with this guy. The Bills are playing terrible football.
So,
I love it, baby. Bring it on. I can't wait to talk more about
Taylor
it.
Thompson almost beat them in Buffalo and Orchard Park. Oh, my God. It was terrible. They did not show up for that game.
Right. They got their head right. Now they're going to dominate the Bengals at Orchard Park this weekend, baby. That's what it's taking, baby. That's what it takes. If they had that, we could be different.
All right, I love that. So Tito's got his 3 plays: Giants plus 7.5, 3-star play; Bills minus 4.5, 3-star play; and anyone outside the WWE roster to enter the Royal Rumble. No, at plus 150, 2-star play. That one's available at Bet Online. We got about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to wrap real quickly here. I have 3 picks to give out. God, I hate doing it. I'm joining Tito on the G-Men plus 7.5. It is a 1-star play for me. That data is just too much for me that I talked about earlier for the divisional round. So I got a 1-star play on that. I have a future on tennis. I'm taking Novak Djokovic to win the Australian Open. It's at minus 110. Minus 110 on DraftKings. He is 1 behind Nadal for the most Grand Slam titles of all time. I don't know if you guys follow this. He was not allowed to play in this tournament last year because he's unvaccinated. I'm not going to get into politics on this show now or ever probably, but I mean, you got to think of it. He's got to be fired up to come back and win this tournament. His draw has opened up totally open wide. He was going to be facing Nick Kyrgios in the quarterfinal. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy. He is a snootful. He is super talented, but he is a hothead to the extreme. But he just pulled out of the tournament a few days ago with an injury. The U.S. Open champion Carlos Alcaraz also not playing in this tournament because of an injury. So the draw has opened up for Djokovic. I don't think he's even going to get really tested until the semifinals. So give me Djokovic to win the Australian Open at minus 110, 1-star play. And then one more 1-star play tonight in college basketball, 7 p.m. Central tonight, a matchup of 2 ranked teams in the Big 12. I'm taking Hilton Magic. We're going 12th ranked Iowa State minus 2.5 at home against number 7 Texas. One of the best games of the night. Cyclones always tough at home. This is a great spot for them tonight. They played really well in their last game. They lost by just 2 at Kansas. So a good bounce back spot tonight at home where they won their first 2 conference games by 15 over Baylor and by 34 over Texas Tech. Then you got Texas coming off 2 dramatic home wins. They were down double digits in the second half to both TCU and Texas Tech. Came back to win both those games in tight fashion. Now they head back out on the road where they've been good this year, but I just think it's a bit of a letdown spot tonight for the Horns. And there's some regression coming their way with those big comeback wins at home. These teams also both ranked in this matchup last year at Hilton. Iowa State won by 9. So give me the Cyclones tonight at minus 2.5. Anything else to add, guys, before we wrap it up? We got about a minute left.
I got to go back to these takes on Tio. He says that Vince is coming in with a hostile takeover, and then he goes with no on the guys coming out of the ring that aren't on a roster? I think it would be yes. I 100% don't agree with that take either. I mean, if he's coming in trying to put his brand on it, someone's coming out.
All right,
It's
we're
Vince
gonna have a lot more
McMahon.
time to talk about this later in the week. I love the WWE hot takes. Good first show, guys. It's gonna wrap it up. Remember, hit the like button on your way out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on Twitter at Gambling Dads. For Sean, for Tito, I'm Eric. This has been Domesticated Gamblers. And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
And let's cash.